Alright,
Okay.
and we are continuing. So, I
What if
allowed Serath to, if you're at humanity 5 or below, if it's literally a life or death situation, for example, if you needed to drain a worthless bomb because an asthmite was on your ass and you had no choice, I would allow it at humanity 5. But you're not out of options, and you can definitely knock these guys out without killing them. So if you go as far as murdering them, it probably will cost you humanity.
let's dominate them and tell them to go to sleep.
Uh, that might not work, depending on how strong you manage to make the dominate and how devoted to their duty they are. But you can try. Keep in mind you might want to wipe their memories of seeing you, because they might be able to describe you and
Let's tell them to kneel.
you're a dick. You're gonna get shot in the face here. I mean, seriously. But go ahead.
Are you getting frustrated with me? I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think out options here.
No, I love it. It's good.
We can just say freeze to them, so they don't use the gun.
Kneel is more fun.
Well,
Okay,
Shows
you
your
can use new.
dominance.
go ahead and roll. And tell me exactly what word you're using. So, you're making them kneel? Which one are you targeting? The one who's...
The one with the gun.
Okay. Go ahead.
Kneel.
Okay, he kneels with a look of supreme confusion on his face. Bronson,
Can I do the other one?
Bronson, following your lead, does the same to the other one. They're both on their knees. The guy on the
Good.
that's kneeling with the gun drawn
Hey,
proceeds
let's
to try and shoot you in the face with his light pistol. Bang. You might have to soak a small amount of damage here. Well, not so small. Okay, the bullet goes in right above your eye, bounces around in your head a little bit, but you manage to stay standing. Both cops are now looking at you in sheer, utter horror. Also, since this is near an airport, there will probably be security guards on your ass in a couple of minutes. How do you wish to proceed?
Okay. We have enough time to erase their memories.
You can try. Difficulty 5.
Manipulation and...
It was wits plus subterfuge for level 3. It's weird since it doesn't use manipulation, but that's what it claims on the tin, so, you know. What are you doing, Raffaello, as Malik proceeds to fuck up royally?
I go to the officer that shooted us and I say to him, freeze using dominate.
Okay, difficulty 5, make your roll. I'm gonna take a look at this in a second. Meanwhile, Bronson. Okay. You can temporarily blank out the memory. But yeah, he goes dead in the eye, but it doesn't seem like... Well, you don't know how well it's stuck. But yeah, it's not
Can I do it
ideal.
again? Can I do it again?
Actually, no, you get 2 successes. You can remove 1 memory permanently. Since you rolled at 6 and it should have been at 5. The guy on the floor freezes, and Bronson proceeds to punch him in the head, trying to knock him out. Let's see if the cop with an average stamina can manage to soak this. Obviously, Bronson hasn't realized that you might need to mind wipe him first. The cup goes out like a light. He's now
God
unconscious.
damn it, Bronson. God damn it.
Well, most of the time you like his initiative, right?
Yeah.
Well, no such thing as a perfect servant. Misunderstandings will happen.
Well, let's get the key and get him out of handcuffs. Get them both out of handcuffs right quick before security comes.
Okay. You hear commotion near the airport doors. You are free of the handcuffs and you can get in the car. Actually, no. Bronson couldn't have knocked the cop out. He was cuffed, right?
Yeah, I was wondering how that worked.
How many successes did he get? You know,
Four?
he kicked the guy in the head.
Okay.
And that would have actually been even more damage. It's higher difficulty, but he would have still managed to get a hit, so... You know.
I don't show up on camera though, do I?
You walked into an airport as a blurry, fucked up outline, didn't you?
You sure did.
Well, the prince will have words about this.
Okay, I'll take my chance with the prince, I suppose.
Yeah, you probably need to get going. The
Let's
ghouls...
get out of here.
Let's run.
Are you gonna take the cop you knocked out with you to mind wipe him later after he comes to?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, kidnapping an officer. Great.
Awesome.
Okay. Dominic seems completely shocked after you took a bullet to the head and just kept going. He's just slack-jawed on the back seat, looking at you with a mixture of awe and horror. So, do you head back to the Chantry?
I vote yes.
Yeah, we go back to the Chantry.
Are either of you gonna bloodbind and ghoulify the police officer, incidentally?
I was actually just thinking about that.
Because he's now under
It'd
your
be very
control,
useful.
and I could certainly draw up a, sheet for him if you wanted to keep a police guy. I had one drawn up for Jackalor's Vice Squad guy, but he never decided to tame that one.
Couldn't we just have like a police contact and he'd be our ghoul and we just kind of give him his monthly blood instead of him like hanging out at the Chantry all the time?
Well, they're your ghouls. You can send them doing whatever, right?
Yeah, and he could actually probably wipe out the security for us or handle the evidence there.
He might be able to, yes. Keep in mind that it will count towards your ghoul limit. Essentially, you can have 2 personal attendants or servants. If you want more, you can, but you need to get the nod from the prince, essentially.
I can turn him into a ghoul.
Turn him.
Okay, I mean, you can certainly have a police officer. He's probably, a cybercrime unit guy? Something like that, so he probably can have some skill at computers and stuff. I don't know.
We can discuss it later, but yeah, that's a good idea. We'll have a new ghoul.
And he's gonna get asked questions if he's gone for a couple of days while you keep him tied up in the basement, force-feeding him blood. But sure, you can tie him up and keep him there, if that's your decision.
That's our decision. And we'll give him an excuse like we could have him call in sick or something.
Okay.
They get sick days.
After his partner just came back after a call about a...
Hey, he's the one lying. He's the one lying about it.
Well, yeah, but he's gonna need an explanation for what happened during the night. You're gonna have to do a pretty complicated second level dominate, right? And you're gonna need at least 2 successes to prevent him from, actually resisting it well enough for people to pick up that something's wrong. I will let both of you recover a single point of willpower, however, since you have managed to deal with Giovanni Menace, and you now have Tomorrow Giovanni and Giovanni number 2, who will have to be given a name, under your control. Giovanni 2 seems to be smoking a cigar, but he appears not to have taken off. He may well be a man of his word. He is wearing some of Bronson's clothes, though. So, is there anything you wish to handle, or you think we should handle before we actually wrap up for the day? You know, Serath is gonna be so disappointed once he learns about Romina. He was actually useful to him.
I never liked Romina.
Yeah, I know. I think Jankalor actually originally thought she was working for the prince. And I did consider having the secretary sneak in during the day, but it never seemed like an appropriate moment for it. And the prince already has most of the books he needs. Sorry, needs? For what? Why would the prince need books? Huh?
So I guess we can wrap it up and talk about our experience because I can't think of anything else that needs to be done except we are kidnapping a police officer, so we may need to spend a little time discussing how we're going to handle that later.
Yeah. I'm gonna give you a bonus point for achieving an important goal because you did essentially pull the fangs from the Giovanni threat for a while before Claudio can organize another attempt. Because these were... You essentially have either killed or taken under your control every Giovanni in the city except one. So he's gonna have to organize another thing all the way from Italy, essentially. So, yeah. Then, experience-wise, what lessons have your characters learned? Malik.
I don't know necessarily about my character, but I do think I've stepped it up a little more with role playing.
Well,
Well, I'm kind of looking at it like
it does...
I learned how to use my social feats to get myself out of trouble more than once today. So, I learned that I was
Okay.
able to do that.
I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be essentially we're talking about your character's internal monologue, right?
Yeah.
Something that your character noticed and that left a important impression on him as a person. It can also be an intense emotional reaction. It can be that you learn to hate someone, or that you had a really defining moment when you were scared that you were about to be caught for diablerie, or anything along those lines as well. It's just
Well, that was
usually easier to define it as a lesson that you learned, that's all.
I had a very I was actually really nervous walking into the building, and I guess my nervousness was not unwarranted. So, because I did have to cover my butt a lot in that little meeting earlier tonight.
Well, you were meeting virtually all of the great and powerful of the city, right? So,
Yes, and I was alone,
yeah,
so definitely terrified.
once a upon a time, you will gain the ability to be in, one of you will gain the ability to be in those meetings as well. So I don't know if I'll handle those as like extra, like half-hour or hour sessions away from the rest of you, or whether we'll play it out at the beginning of the sessions which will include those meetings. But you know, it's definitely gonna be a thing, and you're gonna get a lot of information about, you know, what is discussed among the Primogen as a result, simply because one of you will be one of them. What about you, Raffaello? What was your emotional or learning moment?
Raffaello learned that he really, really, really hates Romina. And he wants to take her and rip her head off her body and put in a spike outside of the Chantry.
Okay, that definitely counts. So I think 4 points of experience each is appropriate. So yeah, you both did really well, but I don't know, nothing stands out as that exceptionally great unless I'm forgetting about something. You can certainly recommend a moment that might be worth the other bonus experience point.
What about my ability to lie out of the diablerie accusation or the suspicion from from being invisible on the camera earlier? Because I used the thaumaturgy excuse.
Yeah, actually, you,
Pretty much convinced everyone it was possible I could do that.
uh, yeah, yeah, I think that's okay. Yeah, sure. What about Raffaello? Does anything come to mind to either of you?
Nope.
And what about you, Malik?
I'm trying to think.
I mean, it's fine. Either way, you're both gonna be a little closer to Sarah, since I think he's actually currently the one who has the most experience. You might actually pass him by, Raffaello. Maybe. Actually, no, you're gonna be pretty equal. Actually, no, I'm looking at
I
Malik.
think Raffaello did pretty well getting the ghoul back. I mean, we had to really work together to do that, but he did pretty well in bringing in the ghoul. Really worked at convincing him like
You
that he
know,
just had a bad day.
uh, yeah, you did give a lot of advice, both from the background to the ones talking on the phone, and generally convincing him. Yeah, for good roleplay, sure, you can have a point of experience there as well, and you're gonna be pretty equal with Serath. And the only one who is really behind is Karen, but I don't know, I have a feeling that Mads isn't really that interested in this series, and I'm starting to consider just killing him off if he isn't interested in continuing to play. But yeah, in any case, congratulations. I'm gonna end recording here, but we can discuss if you actually want to spend the experience on anything. So, for the YouTubes, I'll see you guys next week, and for the players, we're gonna keep discussing for a few more moments.